hopefully it makes smooth from here on in, and you can see some of the benefits of technology. From my point of view, the reason I'm doing this North Queensland whistle stop tour, tonight in Rockhampton, tomorrow in Mackay, the next night in Townsville, and then Friday night, Saturday night in Cairns for the Townsville and Cairns Intercity Games. Is that at the start of the year when I started this role, as I said to the girls out on the pitch, part of my role is to coach the Queensland Scorchers in the National League. The other part of the role, from a QAS point of view, is to identify and develop talent for Queensland. But from a QAS point of view, their primary concern is for the national team, for the Olympics. So from their point of view, QAS are funding this trip for the talent identification of players, and also the development of those players, and also the working with coaches such as yourselves, because you guys are on the ground with them, doing the work with them. So hopefully we can all work together and have plenty of players coming through in the future. Rockhampton has got a history of developing into Centre Walls some great players. In recent times, from a men's program point of view, obviously Jamie Knowlesy, and recently with the under-21s with Matt Goads as well. There's some great talent coming through from the men's side. From a women's side, there hasn't been those types of players come through. And so hopefully in the future, in 4 years' time, I'll be able to look back and say, well, the Jamie Dwyer of the women's program came through and played at the Olympics in London, and that's a real goal of ours. At the start of the year, I spoke to the Queensland selectors and we went through a process of identifying players in the 15 to 18 years age group that we felt, or the Queensland selectors felt, were future national players. There were 7 players named in that group. Of the 7, none of them were from further north than the Sunshine Coast, from Brisbane. So to me that was a concern from the point of view of we've got to make sure we've got this massive state, this fantastic state, to fly from, as I was saying to the guys earlier, to fly from Brisbane to Cairns is the equivalent of flying from Brisbane to Melbourne. I'm sure you guys are well aware of the joys of distance. But we do have this fantastic state, all these great centres such as Rockhampton and Mackay and Townsville and Cairns, they've got great populations, great facilities, and yeah, it's really important that we try and make sure that the players are being identified and developed for the future. I've got no doubt that the players are out in these centres, and from a QAS point of view, to explain what's happened from a QAS point of view, there was a regional QAS. Are you guys familiar with that? Okay, some of you are, some aren't. That was disbanded because the QAS felt that that was servicing Queensland players to prepare for Queensland teams, not nationally identified players. Understand the difference? And so QAS is saying we want those Queensland players developed. That's the responsibility of Hockey Queensland. Whereas the QAS is purely looking at the players for the national teams. And we've had meetings, and it's likely that there'll be programs for both the national identified players and also the players that are preparing to play for Queensland and the future Queensland players. So that's all it means. I'm sure you didn't come here to hear that, but I guess it gives you context of why I'm here. Whilst I'm here, I've spoken to the various coaching directors. You know, so you can call them a regional coaching director. We've now talked to them as being coaching directors. We have a whole of state approach, not a regional approach. So no matter where anyone lives, they can get on a QAS scholarship. Whether it's Rockhampton, Cairns, Gold Coast, Brisbane, wherever, they can all qualify for a QAS scholarship. We spoke about some of the things that you wanted to talk about tonight. There was the new rule and the implications of the new rule for you guys, whether it's in club hockey or Rockhampton teams. There's also some structure, central defence structure that Neil's written a paper on that you wanted to talk about in some detail. I also thought it was worthwhile going through some of the key attacking skills and also some of the key defensive skills from the Queensland point of view that we want the players to be working on. Okay, so we might just start with those to continue on from the training. I'll sort of link in with that, and then we'll got a resource that's been sent through from the national program in Perth, and they're working big time on their skill development because they felt they were fit enough for the last Olympics, but they're let down in a few skill areas, and so they're really working hard on that. But they're having a real blitz on what people are doing off the ball. So there's too many players in hockey that are spectating when not in possession. Okay, when they've got the ball, all of a sudden it's like the batteries are working again. Yep, got energy and I'll play. Haven't got the ball, batteries are flat, I'll sit back and watch. The national program's put together a coaching resource which, if we've got time to look at, we'll definitely look at as well. Okay, the key attacking skills. Ability to receive at speed and in different directions. As I said to the players there today, one of the issues that we have with people's receiving skills is that there's too many players having to stop to receive. We want them to be able to receive with flow. Okay, if we want to play as a dynamic, penetrating, attacking team, then you can't do that if your players have to stop every time they receive the ball. I think part of it comes about from the trainings where if you have cones, there's a pass to a player at the cone, so they're stationary, as opposed to having the cone as a guide, having the player lead away from the cone so that they receive mobile. Okay, where possible, that may be a square pass, it may be receiving going forward, coming back to the ball, receiving and spinning off to then go forward again. Okay, there's a whole range of so in all different directions. The ability to receive with flow is vital. The Dutch strikers, the Dutch are the best team in the world, the Dutch strikers can receive at speed better than anyone in the world. They receive quick. They almost eliminate a lot of the time with the speed of their receives. The ability to receive with instant control. We spoke about the first touch, the importance of the first touch. And you see in warm-up, pre-game or pre-training warm-ups, people hit the trap and the trapper has no attention to the detail with it. They think they're just doing the basics, whereas they're actually doing the essential skills, not the basic skills. Okay, but they're not doing it properly because they're bored with it, they're just going, yeah, hit the trap before training. Instead of going, all right, when the ball comes to me, I'm really going to focus in on my first touch so that I've got instant control. The ball doesn't bounce a foot the other way. Instead I've got to go chase it. It doesn't bounce up. Then I've got to re-control it. It doesn't bounce to the right. Okay, so really focusing in, first touch. I was saying that you either control the ball with your first touch or you get controlled by the ball. Because if you mistrap it and it bounces away, then you're getting controlled by the ball because you're having to chase it. And it slows everything down. The ability to pass at speed. Spoke about a lot of players having to stop to pass. And I think it came about a bit with the slap pass, because to slap you actually have to stop to do a slap pass. You'll see people running forward into attack at speed, and then for some reason instead of just doing a push pass at speed, they'll stop and do a slap. Whereas we want them to be able to do a push pass at speed to promote the flow and the flowing sort of penetrating hockey. I'm not saying there's not a place for slap passes. There is. Around the back, transferring the ball, and may go out a bit more with the new rule. Because a lot of the slaps were from stationary hits on the sideline, and there's a slap to transfer around the back. There's also slaps direct into the circle, and free hits outside the circle. Now you can't actually do that. You've got to pass 5 metres before you can go into the circle. So the slap will still be a part of hockey, but depending on how things adapt to the new rule, it may drift out of it, but time will tell. But we definitely want players to have the ability to pass at speed. Okay, the ability to carry the ball with vision and purpose. What that means is people will carry the ball with purpose, but then when they look up to see where their teammates are, they actually go from having their stick close to the ball to standing up with their stick at waist height. And so they have better vision, but then they lose purpose on the ball. So if they go to have vision, they look up and there's someone on in front of goal and they need the ball straight away, oh, I've got to go back down to the ball and then make the pass. And it takes time, and the higher the level you get to, the less time you've got and the smaller the gaps to pass through. So that's why people need to have vision and purpose on the ball, okay, all in one. You see the fullback, and it's not just the attackers. fullback's walking the ball up towards the line to hit through the line. Okay, walking it up, and they look up. It's like the periscope goes up. Okay, there's the pass. Then I'll go back down, change direction, then hit the ball. Whereas we want them to carry, looking, there, no, back over here, yep, there, bang, fire the pass. So it's a little thing that it all takes time. Ball control to deal with any situation. That's just if you're a defender getting pressed, coming out of defence, and you get pressured by a striker, being able to have the ball under control and being able to use your stick work, in effect, to get to space to try and promote the ball forward. Okay, there's a choice between going into a contest or going to space, and whether it's a defender or an attacker, then look to go to space. Okay, and that'll give you, you'll flow more, and it buys time to actually connect with your teammates, to carry with vision and purpose and connect with your teammates. We actually said to the defenders to be very careful, like if they've got a choice, they're definitely coming out of deep defence, not to run into contests. Okay, to try and get a free hit. The free hit to go to space, and then try and promote and pass through the lines.